Stegosaurus is one of the most fascinating of all dinosaurs. It was the biggest of all plated dinosaurs as well. Stegosaurus had 4 thagomites at the end of its tail and many plates. It was found in North America in the rock layer of the Jurassic. Stegosaurus's body structure is also very fascinating. Stegosaurus was a quadruped dinosaur, though it didn't stand this stance forever. Stegosaurus's history has been different for a long time, and it started out in the early ages of dinosaurs. Stegosaurus also comes from a long family of its own kind of dinosaurs, the Stegosaurus. One of the other types of dinosaurs in this family was the Kentrosaurus, a spiked stegosaur with a shoulder spike that probably helped for protection. Stegosaurus is not one of the only most famous dinosaurs, but also has been one with the most misnips and other mess-ups and clear-ups in science. It has changed over many years, including its art. It first started out as a bipedal, slow-moving dinosaur that wasn't very smart. It had more spikes on its back and less plates than ever before. It was bipedal, which meant it walked on 2 legs. It also had a longer neck and rounder head. Then came a quadruped look for Stegosaurus. It still had way more than 4 spikes on its tail, but it had more plates in a diagonal row on its back. It also, like I said, was quadrupedal, means walked on all 4 legs, though it did drag its tail and have its legs sprawled out, which soon would be a later fix or mess up. Then came the newer Stegosaurus. It was a little off the ground more, with its tail up above, no longer dragging its tail, and now having 4 spikes. It also had brighter plates and a pokier head, or in other words, a more pointed head. Then Jurassic World came out. Its stance was a little different from all of them, just about. Its front legs were smaller than its hind legs, and it was standing, well, I wouldn't say upright, but it wasn't sprawled out like a crocodile. It had its legs under its body, like mammals. It also had a rounder head, once again, and more brighter plates. Also, one thing that's noticeable is now it only has 4 spikes, which is something that's shown up more now in earlier pictures. There's something that wasn't there in the earliest pictures of them all, which this first picture, it has way more than 4. The second picture has at least probably like 6. Then as they got later, they got to be better. Then it came to today's, the 4-spiked quadrupedal Stegosaurus. With brighter and bigger plates than ever, this now chunkier Stegosaurus is way better than a few of the older ones, and is more up to date and scientific. It also has a stance where its front legs are shorter than its back legs like the Jurassic World version, but still it's not too close to the ground. And nearest arts have also brought up many different, activities? I wouldn't say activities. Behaviors. Yes, behaviors of the Stegosaurus. Like parenting. or being agile and trying to wander through narrow areas. This one in particular is showing the Stegosaurus going through a drier wasteland, probably near the summer or the drought time. And it looks like he's going down a narrow path. He also has the noticeable brighter plates. These seem pointier than most of the other pictures. And like I said, the arts have changed and many different people have different theories. So just about any other artist will have different theories. This one shows the Stegosaurus fighting off the Allosaurus. And this next one I think is one of my favorite, is where the Allosaurus is still stuck but dead onto the tail of the Stegosaurus. And this is seen in deer. When deer fight, they'll lock horns, and the one that dies could possibly get stuck there and, well, die. And then the deer that's alive would be struggling, walking around with a dead animal on its horns, locked in its horns with only its antlers or head still there, because predators would have been eating it away. You can definitely see that this Stegosaurus has killed this Allosaurus, and now it's being munched on by other little creatures. Another thing is that they've been in herds more. Dinosaurs have been thought to be in herds now. This one, it would be of all females in this picture, and the one reason I can tell is because the plates aren't as bright. One thing that makes females and males different are the brightness of their plates and their size. The females, well, they're bigger but darker, and the males, they're smaller but brighter. Just about totally opposite of each. Another mix-up would be its plates. The Stegosaurus's plates have been managed for many different uses. Like seen in the art, it's been calculated of many different times and many different numbers of plates. In the first art, they were less plates, and many scientists probably didn't worry about the plates because they weren't as much. They were more looking at the spikes. Now, we know that the spikes were probably only used for protection. But what about the plates? The plates have had many different beliefs or hypotheses of their use, though newer studies have now showed that they weren't used for protection, but actually used for probably show, because they actually had blood veins in them. Also, bite marks have also been shown on many. At once, actually, the plates were thought that they could move and smooth out into flatter areas. And this is actually how Stegosaurus got his name, roof lizard, because they thought that the plates were flat like a roof hinge. This picture shows that the Stegosaurus's plates, they can have different stances, and that's actually been a theory since today, that the Stegosaurus, when it walked, its plates crackled and moved around. Though now, the really main idea was for display, with brighter, more attractive plates than ever. Some even show patterns, and the males would have probably had the brightest, as the females would have had the darkest plates. There's probably the plates that were showing the big, look at me, or they could also have had, like, look at me to the carnivores instead of the females, and saying, you don't want to mess with me, or else you'll get up in a fight. Actually, that's what some moths do today. And butterflies, the brightness of their wings will warn predators that they're either poisonous or scare them off by the intimidation. Another thing that has been science baffled with was the head and its brain. First, its head was pointed, though the 2001 picture of Jurassic World, which was 2015, and Jurassic Park, which was 2001, had a more rounded head for the Stegosaurus, though the Stegosaurus' head was more pointier, which is actually seen in more of today's pictures, though this Jurassic Park Stegosaurus was way off. Another thing was its brain. At first, many scientists were thinking that its brain was the size of a walnut or a peanut. But now we actually know that it was the size of a hot dog, not a walnut. And also, they thought it had 2 brains. Now, for one thing, I gotta say, 2 brains you cannot have. One will be doing this and the other one will be doing this, and after you know it, you're in big trouble. So, really, actually, what it was is thought to be a cavity in the hip, because they were thinking the brain was in the hip, which also thought were messed up my words. I'm sorry. They also thought that the Apatosaurus had 2 brains, but later studies showed there was just cavities in the hip. I don't know what caused the cavities, but I know that's what it turned out to be. It wasn't a second brain; it was a cavity. It only had 1 brain, and for the Stegosaurus, a hot dog-sized brain. It probably didn't taste good. Well, for the carnivores at least. Well, thank you for watching. This is Caden Commander, and this is the last video that I'll be doing for Stegosaurus. It will also be the last video I'll be doing until the new year. I decided to take a break from this semester and go to the new, the reason why I'm doing this is because it's all crazy on Christmas, so I'm going to come back after New Year's and do the weekly thing. There's also going to be some discussion when we have to come back on what days I can do some things. We'll have to do some voting. So, thank you for watching. This is Caden Commander, or should I say paleontologist Caden Commander, in and out. Also, I want to say, please remember to ask questions. If you have any questions about Stegosaurus, now's the time to ask them. Thank you, and keep those questions coming. Bye!